Na sawote. Oh yeah. Na jasa samaba. Na sawote. Oh yeah. Na jasa samaba.
Aya mo o fa ya sa ne mani ade bobia chi. Wo ba ne wan ye ni ya ka. Wo be ni yesusu na waka. Na this government dey anya kula.
Sawote konko ya.
Na che say wo fa ya.
Yeah, fire, Dwaboase, Power 97.9, but also say, everybody Tonton Sansan, another day, Friday, the INS videos I would walk, and your begin so dear didn't come on. May I say, free, I know about me and ya on your casa and what you say about a year passport online application, top a passport, and they say, before for quantum porno, so a day I apply and I say, what you compare passport, no, or so my pencil, and a chassis, and I say, and a buyer. Ukraine ye shadi o mame
Depending on a range of factors, we are aiming for the following delivery deadline: a maximum of 15 working days for a standard application, and then a maximum of 5 working days for express applications. In due course, it is anticipated that depending on a range of factors, we are aiming for the following delivery deadline: a maximum of 15 working days for a standard application, and then a maximum of 5 working days for express applications. In due course, it is anticipated that the ministry would introduce a premium 24-hour passport delivery service to cater for the Ghanaian business community and frequent flyers. And I'm optimistic that given the amount of progress that has been made in that regard already, very soon we should see that every region of the country has a passport application center.
Honorable Hannah Sewatete, Kane Foreign Affairs Minister, Brana, John Mahama Penso, Womopa online passport application, and want to my no. It's no, Manina Utri, Missamo, Wabra will share a yet Tonton Sansan, you Facebook, YouTube, baby, I will share the piano. Some man and swam man sans officer, you made the idea, the here say, or be a huno no crano. Then you sit here, ya tosum ye no. Nano Dr. Mamadou Baumia Bekacha say, and online passport application and the digitalization tea. Woman to Katasane Proya, a yana type by ya coincidia man for Wabra won't
Goro person collect somebody's money. They need to work with somebody from inside to change the dates. They work with people from inside. I'm not saying all of you, but there are some of you who are engaged in it. And this should stop. The blame is always on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Meanwhile, it's the agencies, and I'm sure even some of our staff are involved. Public servants who are supposed to be giving public service to Ghanaians. The Vice President has led the digitalization efforts with my support and all of my officers to put in place an online system. Now the online system is being manipulated so that people can make money off it. There's an investigation going on, and some names have been mentioned. And there are people from outside, a cartel who are working with people from inside. Anybody who has been here for more than a year, from Monday, please do not come back because you've been changed. We want to bring some sanity. Every time politicians are corrupt. Meanwhile, it's some public civil servants who will do things that shouldn't be done, and then they put it on politicians. We come, we do the right thing. I'm trying to bring sanity into the passport system, but no.
Eti Goro boys semne Katasane Proya. Na Wabaumian Susuno, na Baya Quincydia, what did digitalization, Abe free or passport application, and send some no. Adazidian Waiti, and only a yat or no. Where you'll be away of foreign affairs minister Nana Kufado, and I appoint no. Our Galai or passport office. Some man for a manipulate a year, sa system na. wɔn say wɔn gyina so ɛde ayi korɔ no same way every hɔ afei yɛkɔ video ɛtɔ so mmiɛnsa His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia kyerɛ bɔ sɛ student bi abɛnya laptop baako tie sɛdeɛ osi kan no. One student, one laptop. Video ni nyɛ ready. Okay, sɛ nyɛ ready a yɛnkɔ one teacher, one laptop. Yɛnkɔ.
Government pays under this program, government pays 70% of the cost of each laptop, while the teacher pays the remaining 30%. The laptop, however, becomes the personal property of the teacher and serves the benefit of providing a tool for developing the teacher's professional and personal capacity.
Laptop no ɛho nsɛm te sɛ ɛdeɛ na akyerɛkyerɛfoɔ ka asuafoɔ no nso a yɛka se ɛbɛma ɔmo laptop no ɛwɔ yi that video na ayɛ ready ɛnyɛ ready a mekɔ m'anim o maame fa nkɔ Cape Coast na no yɛ Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia kɔgyina hɔ the good people of Cape Coast have good news for you good news ne deɛ yi yɛwɔ
of Cape Coast, I have good news for you. We are building a new harbor in Cape Coast and a new airport in Cape Coast. It is very critical that we do that. An airport makes a lot of sense in Cape Coast. It's a real tourist hub, and between Greater Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast, you have a triangle that really is a lot of hub of economic activity. You can build railway lines between them, and it's a major growth pole if we put an airport here to drive infrastructure growth.
Oh my God, I hear leader, you bet my Ginedi. Nanu ya, Bawumia Bekasaye, Asemia, or boss who Cape Coast, when Timamo so Cape Coast for say, Mimebusa Bawumia say, that boss away, the bay, and obedi so, the bay. So I say what the and it's ready who from neighbor. I didn't know a order in any study who from Edino. One more so. Young Kwayachi, one student, one laptop no. Eh, Bessine, as you have for young say, and about me I can't ask him.
To prepare our children for the fourth industrial revolution workplace, I will enhance the reposition for this is being laid with the provision of laptops to senior high school students very soon. Teachers have already been given the requisite training. Following the senior high school, we will also implement a one student, one laptops policy for tertiary students through the provision of a zero interest loan with a 70% discount on.
Nano Gaza school feeding, Obefa, Abel Council now, Wayam and Atimakon and Nimu Tentem. Nano Castle Bema Sueni Bia, a hot chocolate annum. Because he say, Nano ya child, one student, one laptop. When your first time I waboso, answer na and red chiba ba, one year Becca Safa, then this was the one for Frono. No, I says I bonnet dada. Well, go show what's up on say, and I'm Quaswa Eba, the band a laptop no beba. I say, Yentia Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, somewhere in 2016. I one Casabetu Tumu, or Joy FM studio. Say, John Dramani Mahama. Nabaino, John Mahama as president, Esovu Dumso. Obekaya 2 nights ago, Obekacha say, one more MPP for no, and a Sovu Dumso. By Yenti on one Casanenumasem in 2016, I will confirm say, a Mahama and a Sovu Dumso, Tiaway.
And the right inputs. Yeah.
All right, couple of minutes on Dumso, and I have just one question here.
Yeah.
Yes, the president says that they have done the fastest mobilization of emergency power in the history.
Really?
4 years. That's what he.
Fastest in 4 years.
That's
it took
what he
4
said.
years to mobilize.
Yes.
And that
However,
is supposed to be fast.
However,
That is really scary.
Well,
I mean, if that is the essence of fast. Okay.
The question is I'm just wondering, whatever you may say about how he described what they've done, the fact is that we now have a better power situation than before. And members of your own party have admitted that, yes, they've done something.
How long is that sustainable?
Well, they've solved the problem. They said they would by the end of the year.
Emergency power. They understand the problem.
We've always said, and this thing, when this government came in, there was no Dumso. They inherited an economy without Dumso.
But we've had it periodically throughout the years.
No, but they inherited an economy without Dumso. Dumso really started in earnest 4 years ago. So they, through their own financial mismanagement, that compromised the balance sheet of VRA and other ECG and so on, caused Dumso. We always told you Dumso was a financial problem, and they denied it. But once you then bring in resources to bring in emergency power at very, very high cost, again, car power and so on, these are sole sourcing procurement that took place. And the cost of those things is very high. So when you cause a problem and you've given me a temporary solution to it, and you expect me to give you credit, you must be joking. You have caused the problem. You should be solving it. I'm not going to, you've dug a hole and filled it and say, I should praise you. No, you should have done much better. That's this temporary solution. Is not, listen, we have lost so much as an economy.
It's what the crowd the to workers obey levy, your friends emission levy, and your free and we another debate. Some other day, but this uncommon. But you see, in as much as he was trying so hard to be witty, no person of friends are quite so, and the case still a trinity, what it to some Mahamamo, I solve a problem, no, and so what solves our problem now. I didn't know Bonabaso, Brofuno Kaino, Nasichano, no. Eti where your Dr. Mamadou Bamia, 2016. I watch ya to one and no confession. Take your Mahamamo, I solve Dumsono. Forget about the use of the word temporarily. Forget about that word. And yes, a political gymnastics. But truth is, what you do right there in front of Kojo Yankson on the Super Morning Show, our Joy FM. What you do? Say your mama must solve Dumso. So Bekaya, Hello FM, on about say James Abozu, Ego Kaya, say your mama and a solve Dumso. It's the end a see ya, Nano ya, no one near Casa with UPSA. Wabaka say, Womum and a solve Dumso. It is for us to think about it. Yet, His Excellency John Dramani Mama, and Walker, a Sisudia, a CDP, send up pencil, and now more were 2 years, and the 2 Dumso in ye. Anyway.
When we left office, we gave you 2 new oil fields. All the work that we did as NDC was with 1 oil field, the Jubilee field. We worked and brought the 10 field and the Sankofa field into production. And so it made oil revenues triple. When we left office, we had solved Dumso. We bought enough generation. We established ESLA to pay the legacy debt. Today, Dumso is back. You can't pay the independent producers. And all of you know Dumso is back, just that they don't want to announce a timetable. Yesterday when I came to Tamale, the lights were off the whole day. And so, this thing they keep saying, Mama left a mess, we came and repaired your mess. Before I left office, the IMF said that Ghana's economy was going to grow by 8%. And it grew by 8% and more in 2017. And in 2018, it dropped. When their own policies started kicking in, you look at the GDP growth rate. From the high of 8% that they inherited from me, the next year it went to 6 point something, 5 point something, until when COVID hit, it went to 0. So that myth about you left us a mess, you left us a mess. When you came into office, the Kufuor Eurobond was left with 270 million to pay. Where did you get that money to pay? Mahama left it in the sinking fund because I knew that debt was coming up. That was visionary because I knew that if a new government came, it was going to be difficult to find 270 million at once to pay off the Kufuor Eurobond. So we left it in the sinking fund. They came and met it. In October, they just took it and paid the Eurobond. And after that, they didn't put any money in the sinking fund again. That's why when COVID hit, we had no money to defend ourselves.
Fate, it's a bad news, Socrates, and Ocratia, Mamma, ye. Apart from so, or Modin Fidie, Omugina, Ghana Fosica, so didn't Fidie by, or some ball for what to her. So, what about me? I was a doom so problem. No, he we ye fidie de ne to nche ofi se wonu se kofo apen so no o man fa sa asem no asem ya akoka fidie asem a no nim de kebesi eti we ye fidie asem no to nche e no se ye sikasem mahama e de sika for the foto eto ho I have an energy sector levy and I say energy sector fund what the south for 22 say wabra ye di fidie ba no sika nie eno ne ye de be solve e ka hodo a ebe wo ho enyina manyinam kanea ahode aye pe so eno nanche eno 2-3 ma sabre ya ye koi ba yes anko back to sa digitalization na Dr. Muhammad Bamia e dey to the ho hwe GTV report bia why somewhere within 2015 2016 ho efa online application online passport application radio we mame.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has launched the online passport application service in line with Ghana's e-government strategy. The service is seen as a solution to the existing difficulties bedeviling passport acquisition in the country. It is also expected to ensure efficiency and reliability in passport acquisition.
The online passport application project was introduced in 2014 through the National Information Technology Agency's pilot. The introduction of the Ghana biometric passport replaces all non-biometric passports by the end of 2017. The launch is a culmination of the process adopted by the government to reform the delivery of travel documents for Ghanaians across the country. According to the technical advisor of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Ambassador Leslie Cushion, who doubles as the chairman of the Online Passport Application Project Committee, applicants can make payment for the process through EcoBank, Zenith Bank, GCB Bank, mobile money transfer via Vodafone, MTN, and Airtel, as well as their payment cards. Foreign Minister Ms. Hannah Tete said the system will help the ministry deliver the highest levels of customer integrity and international standing of the Ghana passport while improving on the security and issuance system.
Depending on a range of factors, we are aiming for the following delivery deadline: a maximum of 4 working days for a standard application, and then a maximum of 5 working days for express applications. In due course, it is anticipated that the ministry would introduce a premium 24-hour passport delivery service to cater for the Ghanaian business community and frequent flyers.
Ms. Tete said the service will be expanded.
Eti ena down on GTV 2016 mu ono ena sa report wo mo ye benim sa mu dodo na mo hwe wo be kai eti said na obi ka se ba omia be gina yanim ka se that person ono na de online passport application ba ya na die nana no wo pa kire eno nkwada nchen yemra 2016 said ye ba omia etwa mfonyi se oh my God na sikasem atete oh my God na sikasem akolapse said ye wodi anibre ene kwam ekasaye radio we
Decided in 8 years over the collapse of our economy. If you knew the plan that could work for the economy and be successful, why haven't you implemented that plan in 8 years?
Apart from eno wo be share bo we gina sa asem we so be share bo say wo mo ba ban mu a te said yo ma ba ban mu sa bre ya aka kakra du 8 years wo mo ba ban mu a kro kitwa kro akase ekura ase kro kase bia ni wa e ba toilet sem se bia ne bia esema wo bebre e be nsuo ho asema kro bia ni wo bebre twade we.
In the first 2 years of an MPP administration, under this Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication program, where every constituency will get $1 million every year for rural and deprived communities. Under this program, there should be no village or community in Ghana after the first 2 years that would have a water problem or a toilet problem.
So 2 things. Number 1, Ghana economy no said the nana was described in 2016 say a collapse and the economy ne tibia to say ye dakam ye deka ye ntimi ntwa eka enye se ye wosika na ye mpese ye di betwa eka o ye ni sika ni bi ene ye de atwa yaka what say boss within the first 2 years of only Akufo-Addo administration, or no Baumia, or the Akufo-Addo administration, within the first 2 years, there will be no community or best of water, any toilet problems. And then, send that to be honest here. Yani Bia, can say, oh, a you Fadama, Nima, and then a home cronaba, ye Babesino, the Biano saying the city, one now be my dance here, one who show me tea me, one now be a dance here, saying the Biano city. And you want something to say, and now Yakas and crackers here, Bumpono, and you to internet and fire papu. And now Yakas say Ghana Water Company was say, well, ben yes, come home, baby, and yet, and son what to be the treaties, Johnny, Gadam say, yeah, a Akufo-Addo in the presidency to also say, what Eddie and Yano, and no necessary, and now 20 Ghana Water Company Limited, Womotesu Wabra, who produces you at the Amaye. That is the truth, which Baumia failed to tell us. I say, about 2 January, Baumia can say, Mahama by no the 2 baby air to 3 years old. Yanshe Kojo upon Kroma, any Gideon Boako, Wabro Munina confirm say, Amo Motuana and Neba Umia catcher say, ya the ginger and no bar, Wabe ye fruano. Yanshe Mo Wabro mo confirm say, and Pampana Baumia, Edisa at Tuana, Yadia to Yasono, no Dimwakotene, where ye Kojo dear, Mamma Gideon Boako the ententem, but say, Kojomo de fake, Biabo, Adia way so, but yen him, ye Kojomo can Sabreno. Government appointees bound by decision to impose e-levy. Baumia supports its passage where ye Gideon Boako, one on a Kasama, Dr. Mamadou Baumia. Woman you have a say, Baumia Eddie Mombo Tuano Akotene. What the kind? And you see, by default, one on a chairman of the economic management team. It is a no Wabegina and Nimkase, Waba, Wabetra Mombo Tuanima. And I say, what to me, no? I didn't think I wouldn't come. Yet, John Boadu, Wabra no so can. Baumiama, Tieno.
Said the doctors buyer, you can't answer, but you say it, yeah. So the revenue buyer and the support to youth employment. Where the major reason any rose, the chunk of this money will go into road construction. Now, with time, you know, you say, you know, you better not say. Now, as time goes on, yeah, specifically, I can say, sir. Levy IG, sa road way, and the IAM obia ebehu. Kwame say, only Baumia din komobina as a aquavira. Say Baumia aquacase, or no dear, Onya. Kwame utie conversation or say Ube levy Momo Obia Ocha 5 cities. He was very specific on it. And no, they unsupported any on Obia Okocha 5 cities and have 50 cities. And no, no. And he's chairman of the economic management team. Even you discuss it at the retreat. No, you form another small committee suggesting say they are banning and our chairs our committee. Adiana Yedeba, it is still inconsistent with the Baumia kind say. Obia!
You mean Dr. Mahamadou Baumia?
Dr. Baumia.
Vice President.
Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. It's still consistent with your kind. At some of kind, on sister, I know, I buy in Koya, DB, and Fengun in Massey. Say, wow, who transfer Sika? A year below 100 cedis a day, no? You enjoy 1.75.
Edema NPP Amanyokono, Tikokuroko, and Anan Wakacha Kwame Minkah said Dr. Mamadou Baumia, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. No, Dimo Motoya, Yadiabe Paya Pempemi, would Dimo Kotri. Now, with the Enchebuna, Sikano Dudwana, Yadebaya, Aquino way. What your John Boadu Chechemuna? Was it Sikano Dudwana, Yadebaya, Aquine? And then you was all including Mamadou Baumia, John Boadu, who said, now what Dimo Motoya, Yadiabe Paya Pempemi, Akoteneno. Yabusana said, Aquino away. Fronting Nadana, yo. Yentia Baumia workers and one. Your principal leader was Signaya, was Silver Nukrediabu, you know.
We a leader, not only principles.
everything I overcome just for votes. Then on yentimin because of votes now. Oh yeah, we need we a leader, not only principles. Everything I overcome just for votes. Then on yentimin because of votes now. Oh yeah, we need
They now because of obey Momo to everywhere. Don't you think you are saying this because obey to Abama? Because I be who to me, you know. Because I obey bet to one everywhere. Wabra one I chairman of the economic management team. I dear be a fire economy no decision no you make a witty one country. Said your John Boyd to Amiati. Then obey him case. Woba obey everywhere. And yet Bobby I will share just for votes. It's a principle now. What can one some way by umi and ye busao? Principle no say ye siege na ye wo no kure die kwaso. We a leader, yan shisha boss say wo shabo because wo per say ye to abama. And some ni videos here mabobo ache wo nyina. Foto to asem ya ba umia. Video ya mabo sisi. Foto to asem ya wo kan ye ho. No ye nyina ye ni ya wo no kure. Ye ndi no kure. Afei ye tie ba umia. Yo ka fa akwan ho. Tie we.
Some months ago, we don't have to borrow money from anywhere. Just toll the various sections of the road and we'll raise the money to do the roads in Ghana. It doesn't mean we will not borrow money. It only means that we are going to borrow responsibly and not recklessly. No government can say they won't borrow money. That is ridiculous. So far, the commitments that we received in China before leaving amounted to a total of $15 billion US. And there's a possibility that within the next month or so, there are some discussions that we couldn't conclude, that another $4 billion will be added to that. But this is by way of grant funding. As you can see, all the discussions we've had in China have to do with getting a new funding model, not borrowing, but leveraging our resources to do so.
If you look at this country, the money is there for development, but it stays up, it doesn't come down. The money is there, but it stays up, it doesn't come down. We are going to make sure we bring in a new economic model and make sure the money will come down to our villages for everybody to get that share.
My friend po me de road dia na best see asa wutie nsem ya wo kike nyina video ya ya che nyina titi last one no was abre no se sika no wo soro ho yenim kwan a ye betima afa so na ye de sika sem kwan foforo so aba sa de be ya sika no e be sane afiri soro ho na aba fom na Ghana fo nyina anya bi ene sika no wai sika na wo soro ho no on se da so wo soro ho eno an ye de han wie mu hyen ebra ne ye han wie mu hyen na ba o me awa se de sika ne nam soro Tabra na sika no and nam soro na edi akoniaba e wa dupla e ye luxurious private jet mu eti sika na ba omia ka se wo be fa sika sam nyansa kwa so asane amena firi soro amena ba fom amena so ye nyina ye so wo puntu anwuma yo kwa so no e wai ye bisa afa ye tie ba omia na wo ka se de ya kwan no what the ye be kwa level foforo kra what do you say? What do you say? What do you be call level for level la ye hunu subida. They said ya yem fa yi quota. No, you call concrete. Now only baby or cancer asem no. Sorry fie. I saw them no cancer asem no. You know.
Some months ago, I heard that Bishop Doug Hayward Mills talk about building. He made similar comments here. Yes, these two roads to Accra, Kumasi, we haven't been able to build. And he made a very, very insightful comment about why is it that we are not building our roads with concrete and rather doing all this asphalt bitumen stuff, which the roads get washed away after 2 seasons. You look at the Mamoto Way, which was built with concrete, and it is lasting almost 50 years.
And so that sort of got me thinking, and we started that discussion. It's a simple idea, but it's full of wisdom. I checked, and I realized that even in India, since 2014 in India, they have a policy to only build concrete roads because it works out much cheaper. So I said, well, let me bring this to my bosses, and we have been discussing this as recently as last week in Parliament. And Bishop Dag, I'll let you into it. Cabinet did decide last week that we should move towards concrete roads as a country.
It is our last week, you know. What do you call baby? As our last week, you know. Besi Sabrina, when you are Quenya Swan Ghana for Becassa. What we do a contact say concrete road no mayebi waha, and a mayebi waha, and a mayebi waha. Hey, Baumi and you. Principled man, 1 year. Principled man now was say, or be a 1 year principle. And was bossa because we pay to me. It is our last week now, Wajina Bishop Darky Ward Mills and Nim on your song Mac Prince, Marshall you, Lighthouse, Gina Lighthouse. He said, I saw you from the Kodesh. Oh, Gina saw man Nim Gina Yamifie Sata de Fita. And then this says, say, Cabinet Tatinase. Now, Cabinet now will say, Ya Yentio. And what you have to be Tenase, Eddie Komoko Ben Grum. Cabinet Atenase, as he say, he said, ye babe, track concrete, quine. Quine, ye be carrying ye the concrete in a bay. Mammy also says, oh, Momuye, Jandam, Mamunino, also says, oh, Mahumoto. Oh, Momuye, Jandam, Mamu, bra, more but 26, Yako 2016, about to him. Oh, when you know, come once, especially me, I mean, Jandam Henny, you know.
In 2015, the current vice president of the Republic, our poster boy, the poster boy, onka who, onka se, papa, and member who nim se bukuna, no wonder so called Zimbabwe, wamopamo no. The current vice president, Dr. Muhammad Baumia, when you member want to, just a bukuna sen wo really try. Na no kura na me kasto ayi secret bi akere mo wonim say de no be ready kire nya nyon wana na akere hey tie me say de na Dr. Baumia be ready kire yes wo ye lectures wo ye this. I tell you on authority say nya Dr. Baumia na akere da enipa no wo kere sa eye Dr. Baumia ayi speech a wo be ready ma ye me kwafiri faminim say nipa ne pa na me kodi nkomo me say nya Dr. Baumia. But Yanko Joy FM 2015, Dr. Muhammad Baumia, now was say John Dramani Mama, I call IMF, one Tibida, enti one mokeno, abale famiko.
When you are hiring them and they tell you they can swim, and then you get them in the water and they cannot swim, you better criticize them. You will have to criticize them because they said they would swim, but they are drowning all of us in debt and taxes. You know, and that is, they said they could swim. But we found out to our detriment that they can't.
I really see. When you are employing them and they say they can swim, and when you find out they cannot swim, you better criticize them because they are drowning us in debt. They are drowning us in debt. At that time, not your mama, almost be 80 billion Ghana cedi. Yes, and TB. Yes, you wouldn't be there. Yes, your mama, your mama, you're incompetent. A car one quest, so say, Kaonqua, and your mama, can and kill you with serum, your mama, and Nimamo, and no, ye Canada Park, here for you, Canada Park, Central Market for you, Canada Park, or to crab for charge your ma. Not Baumia to joy of him. I can profit, say, when he get and then, you ever be doing come. Yanko Niansha Dr. Baumia our outlining economic management team.
Akaminya kamomo side one. Baby ana Baumia outlining economic management team. Piako mami. And I enter your bossy. Esa papa no bete so. Almost ye hunu papa no mobo. But you see, ni nyina na wie ye ade baako. Ye ne ba omi aye adwen, ade baako a ye ne ye adwen. E wo ne nsem dodo a waka kire ye nyina. E ye de okan ye bra ye koto aba in 2016. Bueno, na fe santo, fami tu ase ye nko.
Teachers are suffering. Teacher trainees are suffering. Nurses are suffering. And nursing trainees are suffering. Patients are suffering. Students are suffering. Traders are suffering. Pensioners are suffering. Drivers are suffering, contractors are suffering, civil servants are suffering, and farmers are suffering. Fishermen are suffering, and industries are suffering. Artisans are suffering, and kayaye are suffering. The disabled are suffering, and men are suffering. Women are suffering, and children and Ghanaians as a whole are suffering.
Man, ya maya. Ayo, ya ni wom. E paso bia ba adwabo na sibi. Na asambia wo bia mu oka. Na me man ye. Kunsum. Yemfa mu mai. Ko trobodo, yemfa mu mai. Mo sempa.